Good Friday morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is the 16th of August and no single stocks today because there's so much to talk about on the other markets. But we'll start with Nikkei that actually yesterday closed, or actually this very early morning, closed well above the key resistance here at 37,330, thereby cancelling the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. It can still be kind of it, but it won't be that Elliott wave that it was anticipated or it was building up to. We could still see a push up to 39,000, but the RSI is still below 60, and next week could be quite decisive. Will it slide back lower here, or will it continue up to 39,000? For now, it is a fairly strong bounce, I would say, but we need RSI to close back above 60 for further upside potential. On the US markets, we had S&P 500 closing above the upper falling trend line and back above the cloud. Only little thing or issue here is that the RSI needs to close back above 60, but it could occur today if we get a little bit higher close, and we can see here on the future or the US 500 CFD, it's just below 60, and let's see what the mini says. Well, the mini S&P 500 future mini here is just below 60 threshold. So that will be a little bit of a battle. We really need to have it to close back above 60 threshold. So we also have a little bit of resistance here, which we can see 55.66, 5,566. If it closes above that level, and then we'll probably also get an RSI close above 60, and then there's potential higher. Nasdaq 100 also jumped higher yesterday, of course, and we have the 60 threshold that also needs to be closed above, and here 19,539 is the key resistance. Then we are back in a bullish trend, and it will be confirmed by an RSI close above 60. That's something to keep an eye on. And currently, the future, what does it say? It actually says, well, it's testing at the moment, but it hasn't closed above the 60 threshold. So that can set it back a little bit, and then we'll have to see. We have the EUROSTOXX 50 opening today above 48.12, and the 786 retracement. Also here the RSI, and that's the story across the board, all indices. The RSI is still below 60, and it really needs to close back above, and then because that will build the foundation for higher levels. But if it can keep itself EUROSTOXX 50 above 48.12, well, then there is potential higher to 49. DAX index closed the gap yesterday here. And I don't know if you actually read my articles that came out early afternoon yesterday, where I talked about these gaps here, and they need to close them, and they did, and jumping higher today, trading around the 55 and 100 moving average, and the 786 retracement at 18,295. Still RSI below there. We could have a setback. We are below the cloud, but it's a very strong bounce. If it starts moving back below 18,083, well, then we could see a little bit of correction down. But it really has turned the tide here, closing those gaps. It's a very strong signal to send. The Amsterdam index also didn't close the gap yesterday, and the key will be, can it actually close it today? And as we can see, it is touching, or just about touching, the 786 retracement at 909. If it does close below 907, then it hasn't closed the gap, and it also below the cloud, and then we could expect a little bit of setback at least. But if it does close above 908, then I expect further upside potential. The CAC index closed above 7,300. Very strong signals. Actually did it the other day, then closed this gap here, and 7,465.66 actually. There is some resistance, and the 786 retracement. This is kind of the pivot. You can see why it's so important, and here it wasn't that much important, but it's still a key level to watch. If it is being rejected, we could expect a little bit of a setback to test the 73.70 support before a possible move higher. And the Swiss market finally has been the strongest of them, but still RSI below 60, trading just above the 786 retracement and above the cloud. So it's a very strong signal to send that we are back in business, and it will be confirmed by a 60 threshold close above 60 threshold. And then we are looking towards previous peaks. Also a lot of action in the FX market. We saw euro dollar collapsing after actually closing above 110, then collapsing, and now it's trying to move back up again. And let's have a look at how it looks on the weekly, because that could be key for future development. See if we can not close above 110, well then it will be a struggle. But if the RSI on the weekly is closing above 60, we should see euro dollar slowly, probably very slowly, moving higher in coming weeks and months. It will not be a sprint, it will be almost a marathon. But keep an eye on, we are in an uptrend, higher highs, higher lows, but it is a little bit fragile, to be honest. On the euro sterling, that also got beaten yesterday. It actually bounced from the 38.2, but then it got beaten back down after hitting 61.8. So let's just remove that. But it's interesting to see that it hit it, and then it got hammered back down. And this morning, it's actually trading below the 38.2 retracement there, potential down to 85, where we have some strong support. Just around the upper part of the cloud. There's no RSI divergence. I still think we will see euro sterling pushing higher in coming days and coming weeks. But the key here is it did not close above the upper falling trend line, which is a really bad signal to send. I want to have a close above 86.45 for a confirmation of a medium-term uptrend. So for now, it is failing to do so. Cable pushing higher, and the thing is, euro dollar, euro sterling, and cable cannot move in the same direction at the same time. So there's a time difference here. So we have to look at that, of course. And for now, it seems like it's cable, it's sterling dollar that is pushing higher after being struggling a little bit. And I think we will test the 61.8 retracement at 129 fairly shortly, possibly later today. A close above, well, it paves the way to 130 and possibly higher. 130 and a half. If the RSI closes above 60, well, then there is further upside potential. Dollar yen, we talked about it yesterday that we're struggling a little bit, but that there was room up to the 38.2 retracement at 149.42, and also this resistance around here, and the upper falling trend line. We closed just about, but we see it now is being rejected here. Let's see what will happen here in the next couple of days. We do need another break higher for potential up to 151.85. Otherwise, it will start sliding lower towards 147 again. Euro yen actually did break above its 162.30, which was the 38.2 retracement here, 162.45, testing 164 at the moment, and the 200 moving average. That can be a little bit of a hard nut to crack, really. But well, we also have the it is a strong resistance area here that it really needs to. I think we will see short term we will have a setback down to around 162.30, and then maybe it will have another go. If it starts sliding low below 162, well, then we could see downtrend resuming, and the RSI, if it closes back below 40, then it will support a bearish picture again. Also yen also broke it above its resistance area here. There is potential up to 99.90, but it is struggling, as you can see here, just at the 21 moving average. But we should see it up here, I think, the next couple of days, going into next week. Could struggle a little bit, and we could have a little bit of a setback before the next upwards move. But our side, if it closes below 40, it could be further downside pressure. Sterling yen above the 38.2 retracement, just around the 200 moving average. You can see how important it was. Here it wasn't that important. I mean, it closed just above there, and then it smacked right through. Now it's testing it here. If it can really take off, well, then there's potential up to 194, 195, but the strong resistance is up here at 197 and 65. I expect also a little bit of a setback before maybe and having another go, but the RSI also here is in negative sentiment. Aussie dollar really struggling to get away from this 61.8. It's just trading above, then below, down above. So it's very, how do you say, volatile at the moment on Aussie dollar. If it takes out at the 66.45, the peak here from the other day, then I think we could see a push up to 67 and then 786 retracement. If it takes out the 65 down here, that low there, well, then expect a downtrend to resume. Maybe I should do an update, written update a little bit later on this one. We have dollar Canada also trading around the 61.8 retracement, and what is interesting, it actually did a dip below, but the 100 moving average caught it, and the cloud also here is giving some support. We should see a bounce, also given that we still have the RSI above 40. If it does close below 40, expect further selling. But if it starts moving higher and we get our RSI back above 60, then expect dollar Canada to push towards 138.50 and 139. Euro Swiss around 61.8. Seems like that level is all over the place at the moment. It doesn't really hit it that hard, but it's trading around that level. We had the 200 moving average giving a little bit of resistance there, and we can see the RSI has probably was up there, was rejected at 60 threshold, and I think we could see a little bit of a correction down to 95. If it moves back below 95, well, the selling pressure could increase, especially if we get 40 threshold broken. Dollar Swiss reached 50% of that downtrend there, and 87.30 resistance level being rejected at the moment, and we can see it be sliding lower. If we get the RSI back below 40, then I think we'll see selling pressure increasing, and if it does break below 86.18, then expect a further downside for a dollar Swiss. Dollar index, well, is it forming a double bottom pattern? It will only be confirmed if it breaks above 103.36, sorry. Or is it just in a sideways move here the next couple of days? At least we need to have a breakout of this level and the lows down here at 101.97, so or 103.36. Moving on to gold, that once again was rejected at just below its all-time high previous peak here at 24.84 a couple of days ago, and we can see that it is now caught in this little tight range here. If it drops below the 24.30 level, I think we'll see the lower rising trend line being tested again, but to reverse the bullish trend, it needs to close below 23.64. I still favor a bullish break higher, but it is struggling really, so it can take a little bit of time and a lot of sideways trading. Expect kind of a catch-up effect, as we call it here, where if it does break higher, then it could be a massive move. But let's see. I want to have confirmation. Silver broken above its upper falling trend line here, and there should be a potential up to 29.45 on the short term. Copper, same picture really, broken its upper falling trend line in this wedge-like pattern. Should be able to push up to 421 area where we have the upper falling trend line here. And the 38.2 retracement, if it does close above, and you need a close above, well, then there's potential up to 440, possibly higher, but then we also need the RSI back above 60 for that to materialize. On the energy side, the WTI, not really much to report. It is still trading in this triangle pattern here, so it's really volatile and hard to predict a direction at the moment. It was rejected here just around $80, and I think we could slide back to around $75. Same picture on, or similar picture on Brent crude, of course, just below 82.5, sliding back to around 79, still forming this picture, and I think that will be ongoing for quite some time, where it will be volatile, but less and less, and in a more and more narrow range. We have the US Treasury yields bouncing off just a few pips above the 61.8 retracement here at 3.79. we are still in a downtrend. There's no divergence. We should see lower lows, but if it does trade above 402, I would say then we'll see a push up to 413. But I think we'll be caught in this range here around 370, 380, 390 for the foreseeable future. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and a nice weekend, and have a trading.